5 minutes. Find Winning at Life basically everywhere. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Periscope, Twitch, Dailymotion, DLive, Smashcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Castro, Podomatic, Overcast. Did I say Spotify? I think I said Spotify. Anyway, we're everywhere. We prefer you listen on the Winning at Life app, and you can use that app to find us on your preferred platform. Stand by, the show's starting soon. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks starts in 4 minutes. If you're interested in learning more about money and the financial world, have you checked out the Ask Gregory podcast? The Ask Gregory podcast has financial topics covering everything from how to handle your 401k to Social Security rules to student loans to precious metals. It's all the best segments that we've done on Winning at Life, and we condense down into specific topics by episode. So if you want to know more about money and investing and retirement, that's a great place to start. Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, iHeartRadio, Spotify, podcast app on your phone, and about 1,000 other places. I mean, don't go do it right now because the show's about to start, so just sit tight. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks starts in 3 minutes. Hey, I'm your co-host, James Parker. You can find contact info to some of our show partners, including the Total Wealth Authority, on the Winning at Life app. If you're looking for a financial advisor, start your search with Gregory Ricks and Associates. If you have a mortgage issue, try Dwayne Stein at Mortgage Gumbo. If you have tax issues, try Jude Heath, CPA. And if you have some estate planning questions, try Wes Blanchard. These are all members of the Total Wealth Authority. You hear them on the show on a regular basis, and they're all linked on the Winning at Life app. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is starting in 2 minutes. You can listen to previous shows on demand with the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, whatever. It's just the Winning at Life podcast. Now, that's different than the Ask Gregory podcast. The Ask Gregory podcast is episodes sorted by topic. If you just want to hear recent shows on demand, like yesterday's show or the show from Saturday, that's the Winning at Life podcast. That's available everywhere as well. The Winning at Life app, iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole drill. Hey, why aren't you already following Winning at Life on all of our social media platforms? You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Periscope, Twitch, Dailymotion, DLive. All these places are linked directly on the Winning at Life app. So download the Winning at Life app, whatever platform you prefer. Find us there. We'll come to you. Stand by. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is going to start in just a moment. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks starts in 1 minute. Have you downloaded the Winning at Life app? You can listen to the show live. You can also watch the video version of the show live, or you can listen or watch to recent shows of Winning at Life on demand. There's no cost to you. It's in your app store, the Winning at Life app. Welcome to Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. I'm your co-host, James Parker. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Stand by. The show is about to begin.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Winning at Life. Yes, live financial news talk radio. A lot of news to cover with you today. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. We're going to talk about Social Security. We're going to talk about taxes. We're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about the current administration, the previous administration, the administration before that, and how they're impacting your money. And what about the next one? Yeah, I've got some cool stats to give you. We have concern sheets from some speaking events that I held this week. And gosh, that was a blast. You know, the wine, wisdom, and food events that we do. And we are planning those for next year. There's going to be quite a bit. Because of its popularity, it's going to be full on in 2022. So, I don't know. We might hold, let me see, do a guess. We'll hold probably 30 or more next year here in the southeastern part of the United States. If you'd like to join the conversation, hey, been doing this show for over 11 years. I thought about that the other night. Heck, in June, it'll be 12 years. And I think the magic of the show is call-ins. And even at my public events, I request concern sheets, and it's kind of a live survey of what is on attendees' minds. And I think it's very helpful to stay in touch. And I think the callers into the show kind of gives us an idea of what's on everybody's minds today. So to join the conversation, and we're here for 3 hours this morning. Yep, that's right. Live radio till 1 o'clock this afternoon. So the phone number to join the conversation is 504-260-0995. We're over on Facebook Live. Go to the Winning at Life Facebook page, and that can connect you with the show. Another pretty cool deal we have is the Winning at Life app. So you could just add that to your smartphone. You can text, email, call the show through the Winning at Life app. If you want to email me directly, it's info@gregoryricks.com. The only way you can text me is through the app, and technically the app's turning it into an email and sends it over to me. And you also don't have to worry, I'm not back, just to be clear on that. And as far as if you email me directly, we could follow back up with you in case we missed that question or something to that effect. You know, we're about answering questions. At one of the events, I told people, you don't even have to become a client of my firm. If you're needing help, you just simply call. And the thing about calling in is, you know what? There's a lot of people out there probably thinking the same question. They're just too busy driving, preparing for the tailgate. You know, it's football Saturday in America, so a lot of that's going on. So they're busy doing things, just can't call, but they're listening. And your question is probably going to help somebody else. So once again, that's 504-260-0995. Some of the things on my mind today. Drop some of my papers here. I printed a chart this morning. How long can retirees expect to live once they hit 65? Now, probably something I put up on my blog over at GregoryRicks.com. I have a news blog where I put up articles that I read throughout the week. I read quite a bit, but I don't give you all that. That would be overload. But typically we add up a few articles a week that we think are really important. How about Social Security claiming decisions? What about 5 reasons not to worry about a stock market crash? How about Social Security strategies? 3 of them. I've got some stats to give you. Hey, how about a different take? How about the best annuity money can buy? It's a mind shift there. Sometimes I talk about how in my day job, and for new listeners, I've been in the financial services industry for about 40 years. Been on the financial advising side, probably neighborhood of 25, 28 years of that. And so I kind of define that we walk around inside the box, step outside the box, look around, and then we take a big overview. Where a lot of people think working with an advisor is just about investing. And that's really just a part of it when you think about everything that has to be looked at. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of mind shift on the best annuity can buy. Update on Medicare. I've got this guide on inflation here. I don't know how much we'll go to, but I think if we kind of get right to it, what does inflation mean to you? I can give you the simple answer. It's things are going to cost more. And we're going to see it a little bit, but I'm going to give you a little bit of historical on there. And I've got another article regarding crypto regulation that's coming. What's interesting is I saw AMC Theaters is going to start accepting crypto for movies. I honestly, I don't know quite how that works, but they did say they're not going to accept Dogecoin. That's kind of funny. Yeah, that crypto that started as a joke, but maybe AMC's still taking it as a joke from that standpoint. Once again, 504-260-0995. Let's talk about some numbers here today that I've got in. The first calendar year, and I've talked about this has been going on since last year, questions regarding first-year president. So we were getting calls in where somebody said, well, if such and such wins, I'll just say, if Biden wins, what should I do? I think things are going to go bad. The other way the questions were coming in, if Trump wins again, what are we going to do? What should I do with my money? So you had this going back and forth. But the bigger concerns was a change of administration on what's coming. The first calendar year of the 8 years Barack Obama was president, and I go back to when Trump first got in, they were not expecting the market to do well also when he came in office. But the first calendar year of the 8 years that Barack Obama was president produced an S&P 500 gain of 26.5% total return. The first calendar year of the 4 years that Donald Trump was president, that's in 2017, Barack's was 2009, produced a S&P 500 gain of 21.8% total return. The first calendar year of Joe Biden's presidency has produced so far S&P 500 gain of 26.2% year to date. And yeah, we've got 7 weeks to go. So let's go back to that. He's at 26.2. He served as a vice president under Barack Obama, which had a first-year return of 26.5. Well, you can say, well, he beat Trump's the first year, and I just have this feeling that his first year is going to beat Barack Obama's. And there was a lot of skepticism going into that. Another interesting thing is every U.S. president since 1993, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden, began their first year in the White House with total control of Congress. Yeah, that's interesting. Presidents Clinton, Obama, Biden began with Democrats controlling both the House and the Senate. And of course, Presidents Bush and Trump began with Republicans controlling both the House and the Senate. And I'll tell you this, none of them controlled it all the way through. Once midterms hit for Trump, that changed. And I'll tell you what I think the vibe is in Congress now. And if it, we had a few elections recently for governor and so forth, so there's a little bit of change coming. I think change is coming. So what it tells me is the country changed presidents. They also adjust Congress to that favor because the slightly more than 50% that changed administration readjust Congress, and more of the people are wanting some change. And once they get a couple years in, some of them are shifting because they're not like, that's not quite what I was expecting, so we're going to take some control away. So they shift Congress back to the other side and kind of put the brakes on things. And the future for that to work for an incoming administration has really have to be very good at crossing the aisle.
504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
At the core, I always tell people, I'm not here to make you rich. I'm here to make sure you don't run out of money. That's how I look at my job.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
What's cooking, Gumbo Nation? Cash is king. You hear this almost weekly on Mortgage Gumbo. In 30 years of mortgage advising, it's never been easier to purchase or refinance. And with rates now hanging back near all-time lows, don't miss an opportunity to get those home projects done with a low-rate refinance or purchase that first or new home with zero to low down payment option. Visit snapsendandsave.com. It's that easy.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Half of estate planning is having a plan put together for your loved ones when you pass away. The other half of estate planning is dealing with someone else's plan when they pass away. Sometimes they have a great plan, but sometimes you need a little help. Don't leave your loved ones in a bind. Call me, and we'll make sure you have a plan. Hi, I'm Wes Blanchard, an estate planning attorney in Metairie. What's your plan? Find me at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
At the core, I always tell people, I'm not here to make you rich. I'm here to make sure you don't run out of money, that you don't run out of income. That's how I look at my job. Over time, saving, making good decisions can make you rich. But what you have is, what is your core thing? Your core thing should be making money. And your core thing, you should set aside money to work elsewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to put it to risk. You could put it to safety. But your core thing makes you money. Or you tell me your core thing is the market, day trading, or gambling in the market. It shouldn't be. You should have a core thing that makes you money, and you peel some off for the future when you're done with your core.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
I'm more than recreational. I'm what you need. I'll be your smooth ride. That late night, you walk the white high. I'll be your first time. That's so right. Get you falling in love.
Hey, y'all. 04-260-0995. Let's talk about money. You know, as I mentioned, I've been in this advising industry for a long time at helping people. And I go back to what caused me to shift. As a kid, single digits, I'd already shown this knack for being entrepreneurial. Yeah, I started cutting grass for money at age 9 because I could fix a lawnmower. So I owned me a lawnmower as a kid. And I did stuff like that growing up. But one of the magic things that I really liked was compound interest. Charlie Munger, the other half of Berkshire Hathaway. You know about Buffett. You don't hear Charlie that much, but there's a phrase I like that he reminds everybody of is, do not interrupt the compounding. And that's where people make mistakes, whether they completely withdraw from an investment or pause it or spend it all and have to start back again. And do not interrupt it. And that is one of the magic things. And it's best to, even with a small amount, get that started at an early age. It is just tremendous. So that's what's also impacted me in the advising, is how to help people do that better. Because one of the things that impacts people from causing them to interrupt it is market volatility. Beyond, if we go back to year 2000, 1999, I'd say somewhere between post-Great Depression, probably look at the late 30s, we probably had a pretty consistent market all the way up to about 2000. And then volatility really has kind of been a consistent. Some of you said, no, you're wrong. I don't see much volatility. Well, we've had volatility recently. We had it last year. But when you think about the past decade, the market's really been on a roll. For a lot of people, they've really not dealt with negative impact. But volatility causes them to make bad decisions regarding their money and interrupt it. Or they take risk to a level that causes them to exit from the game. And the game is wealth building is what I refer to as. So what also, most of you've heard my backstory, and that, my dad was killed when I was in my very early 20s, and Mom came into a 7-figure lump sum settlement along with a guaranteed income. I had tried to twist her arm gently to, hey, you need to take more in the settlement of guaranteed lifetime income and less of the lump sum. So she took this 7-figure lump sum. And the sad thing about that is that lump sum was gone in 10 years. So the impact of that was, gosh, there has to be a better way to help people with that, at least inform them about their decision making and help people make better decisions. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about ETFs or mutual funds or stock picks. It can be, but if you're not making good decisions, that's not going to do you any good. And some of that is maybe taking too much risk. And that's ultimately what led me to get into the advising side of the financial industry to help people make better decisions. Because when you're out there looking at firms and thinking about how do you make a choice? First off, you need to kind of be adept at figuring out, are they going to put me first? Am I important to who I'm talking to? The other night I shared this is if you go into a firm and have a meeting and they start talking product in a way of trying to get you to do something, whether it might be REITs, might be annuities, just something where they've really not spent a lot of time on getting to know you, but they just get in there and they start selling. Maybe it's because of the way they're compensated. They're compensated to push product. So you kind of have to be worried about that. You go in somebody's office and they start talking about a 30% bonus on an annuity or REITs or something that's paying high yield that seems a little outlandish in a 1.5% 10-year treasury world. You should say, hey, do you mind a moment? I need to take a break. Got to run to the restroom. Just head home. Leave that meeting. They're not looking out for you. And how do they give advice and help you if they haven't got to know you? The only time I would really go into advice is once we had been well into the meeting and I really got to know what's going on, what they were thinking, what they were looking for. And I'd already figured out, I am not going to be able to fix this or help this. And they don't have enough money left to survive in the direction they're going. I would start giving advice of things they needed to do. And I would just tell them, I said, this probably we're not going to be able to go forward because I can't fix it, and give them the reasons why. And then I would give them advice on what they needed to do going forward to help this situation. And I think that's important. Why? I'm putting them first. And that's what you have to think about there. So ultimately, you have to decide. And look, I'm going to talk to you today about the Invest 50/50 philosophy, our trademarked investment philosophy. But that's only a part of what we do. And I think it is a better way to invest. It increases the probability of your success in reaching your financial destination. But there's so much more to that. And we really shouldn't get deep into that or try and talk you into something like that on the first visit, because there's so much more to talk about: income planning, tax efficiency, estate planning, what to do about healthcare. So ultimately, what I think you're looking for and how you should look at it is not be wowed by any one part, but your awareness and understanding should be increased of what's going on, and maybe have a new view on it. But ultimately, you can go anywhere and get an ETF, get a mutual fund, get an annuity. You can buy stocks about anywhere out there. But can who you're working with get you to that financial destination? Are they increasing your chances of success in getting to your financial destination? You know, and another take on it is they shouldn't be completely agreeable with what you want to do. I ask this often. How many retirement plans have you built? Think about that. How many have you built? For most people that are do-it-yourselfers, one. How often do you update that? How often do you strategize that? Are you good enough to see your errors? No, you've only built one. You don't have experience in that. We've built thousands. And how we look at the process and building a plan, you know how long it's good for? The short term. It should be constantly looked at and improved upon. Here's we're going to jump to a break, and I'm going to go over some concern sheets from a public event I held this week, and we'll talk about some questions and concerns that come up in that.
All right, if you have a comment for the show right now, it's 504-260-0995. You can also give us a call or text from the front screen of the Winning at Life app. And if you hear what you like coming from the comment cards and you want to go to one of these live events, you can always just keep an eye on GregoryRicks.com. There's an events tab there. But I really invite you to sign up for the newsletter and follow us on social media so that way the updates will be proactively sent to you. But again, if you want to be part of the show right now, it's 504-260-0995, or you give us a call or text from the front screen of the Winning at Life app. So coming up next, comment cards from some live events and what?
I found my phone.
Oh, you found your phone. Thank goodness. Hey.
Sitting in a strange place on top of the Kleenex box.
You know what an awful feeling that is when you can't find your phone? It's like that dream when you're
naked.
And
it's just right in front of you.
Hey, good. All right, problem solved. Next problem is yours, 504-260-0995. I'm James Parker, and we are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts, probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
2 questions. Do you have a pulse? Do you own anything? If you said yes to both, you probably need a will. You may even need a trust. We all know a lawyer. Do you know someone who specializes in estate planning? Do you really trust the husband of your sister's friend from college? Or would you feel better putting your family in the hands of the estate planning attorney of the Total Wealth Authority? I'm Wes Blanchard. What's your plan? Offices in Metairie and at wjblanchardlaw.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live 6 days a week. And if we're not on at the moment, you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Most people think of Crime Stoppers as only a tip reporting line, but we're so much more. Crime Stoppers G&O has worked in our area schools, offering prevention presentations on trending topics from drugs, bullying, online safety, suicide prevention, and much more. And we have a high school teen leadership program which provides students with a first-hand look at the criminal justice profession as a future fit for their fellow students. So to learn more, visit safeschoolsla.com or call 504-837-8477.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. Runaway inflation is setting the stage for a very costly Thanksgiving.
Thanks to the highest inflation in 30 years, a Thanksgiving turkey is going to cost you more than any time this century. Americans also feeling the squeeze at the pump. President Biden recognizing the skyrocketing costs.
Do you ever think you'd be paying this much for a gallon of gas? In some parts of California, they're paying $4.50 a gallon.
The price of a 15-pound turkey has surged from $11 in 2018 to nearly $21 today. That's the highest in decades after a 25% jump in just the past year.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. It always comes down to money. The UN Climate Conference in Glasgow, Scotland has hit a snag due to financial woes, namely complications over compensation for climate damages for poorer nations. U.S. Envoy John Kerry now meeting with diplomats from Africa and elsewhere to try and find a solution. America is listening to Fox News.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I know everybody says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy me a boat.
And that truck to pull it. Hey, welcome back. One of my longtime favorite songs that we helped introduce that song through the show. Caught on to that hit early. So, Winning at Life. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. Welcome back to the show. We've got a couple more hours to go. If you'd like to join the conversation, you want to ask about Social Security, investment decisions, 401k, and let me type something in and see what I grab here. And regarding that, I had a call this week from a client, and we get a lot of calls every day because I encourage people to call with questions, clients and non-clients. But this was a client asking me about Evergrande, the looming danger in China's financial system. And I've done some more reading since I talked about this. I do think there's a possible contagion. And I had a gentleman call, and he was basically, I've read about this, and this isn't just new news. It's been out there a little while. But he was asking, what should I do? I'm thinking about exiting the market in his 401k, essentially going to cash. That's potentially interruption of compounding. And I said, I would probably reduce exposure to international, especially on the bonds. And if you're really concerned about it, dial back a portion of your portfolio. And I said, I probably would not reduce more than half. Because a couple positives on that is our system here in the United States is flush with money. If there's a pullback because of it, it'll be temporary and take back off again. It may create a buying opportunity. The other part to that is I don't think it's going to last long. And what we've talked about in the past and going back several years back is talking about the ghost cities that were built in China. And all this built with debt. And the whole problem with Evergrande and other real estate firms is they borrowed a lot of money to do this, and the people didn't come. And a lot of people, instead of investing in the market, which their markets are really, really horrible, so they invested in real estate. And still, once again, these cities did not fill up, but they have all this debt, and China's leadership is trying to curtail that. And I always said there's going to be a day they have to pay the price for what they were doing back then. And this is it. This is those bills are coming due, and they have to, as a country, as an economy over there, and creating this inflated GDP, which wasn't real because they were just spending money internally, building and making work. It's just like it was the ultimate make work projects. It wasn't based upon need of housing. And yeah, so that's why these problems are coming up now, and there's probably going to be some really, really big defaults in China. So just connecting the dots there to the past. If you want to join the conversation, 504-260-0995.
Jack in Covington, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, Jack?
Yes, good morning to you, Owen. I really enjoy your show. I don't know if it's appropriate for the show or not, but anyway, I have an IRA that I'm 68 years old. I have an IRA that I have been taking money out of just a few dollars at a time, like $1,500 a year. But with the hurricane hit and I had a severe damage to my home, I needed to take some of that money out just to get things going. And my question is am I going to be able to put that money back in and still have it deferred, or am I going to have to just declare it all as income?
I offhand don't know if they've given us any help on that. Let me just, I'm looking here real quick.
I know there are some circumstances where they kind of waive the penalty if you, well, it's not really a penalty, it's income.
Yeah. I am looking here to see, generally when there has been a federal declaration of disaster, there's usually a little bit help on that. And it looks like I've got some IRS announcements right here. So let's take a look at that and see what we have. As a result of the destruction, this was, what article? I'll give some credit here. And it's by Michael Schiller. As a result of destruction caused by Hurricane Ida that began on August 26th of this year, the IRS announced that tax relief postpones until January 3rd of 2022 certain deadlines falling on or after the 26th of January. Deadlines that apply to individual retirement accounts, health savings accounts, Cordell education accounts, and so forth. I don't see anything here where there's probably some relief on that. When did you actually take them? You've been taking you took some additional money out?
Yeah, I took like $10,000 out.
Yeah. What date did you take that out, by the way?
It was back in August.
Yeah, so we're past the 60-day rule on that, which
right.
You can only do once
every
12 months as an aggregate on there. I would reach out to your tax professional that you're working with. We're having Jude Heath here in the second hour. About 20 minutes, he's actually going to be in studio with me here. And I'll tell you what, we'll pop that question to him right away out the gate, because you know what? Other people have those issues at all.
Yeah, I know. I know two other people that had to do the same thing, yeah.
and we'll find out what's
Thank you.
going on there.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for the call. See, like I said earlier, somebody's always going to ask a question that's going to help them out. Let's see. Well, that's not getting me there. I was looking for, I saw something on Ed Slott's website over at irahelp.com. So, but we'll talk to Jude about that in a few minutes. He'll be on top of that for sure. There was Stephanie Pomboy. I follow her on Twitter, and so she had put a note out there, something to the effect of, this is not a surprise, but hurdles, the article she was pointing to is hurdles on the horizon, new crypto regulation, both the infrastructure bill and positioning of the SEC mark milestones that will alter digital asset landscape. The infrastructure bill that recently passed U.S. Congress contains digital asset provisions designed to generate revenue and could hinder the crypto's growth and stifle innovation. The regulations require any party involved with the exchange of digital assets to register as a broker and report all cash payments exceeding $10,000 to the IRS. Significant backlash from blockchain stakeholders has initiated debate regarding the bill's definition of a broker. The current definition requires developers, cryptocurrency startups, and even miners to enact know your customer measures. This is a pretty big deal. In addition to the infrastructure bill, the SEC, providing little guidance, has shuttered Coinbase's lending program with the threat of a lawsuit. The SEC has also proposed registration requirements for stablecoin issuers. By these moves by the SEC have implications within DeFi as more regulations arise to minimize and decentralize the structure of crypto. What's going to also push this forward is when people start losing money as a result of not understanding, lack of disclosures, confusion is going to get the SEC looking around quite a bit. People that are doing investments of some sort involving people they're going to end up in trouble.
We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I'm going to plug what we kind of do as my day job during the week. We help you with your money. We're money managers, we're strategists, income planners, investments. Another is healthcare, whether it's long-term care or Medicare, and having supplements and such. Estate planning. And then the fifth part is tax planning, creating tax efficiency. Regardless of the area you're listening to across the country, we can do video meetings. We can start with a phone call, do Zoom meetings. As far as in office, I have an office in Gulfport, Mississippi, in Mandeville, Baton Rouge, and also in Metairie, Louisiana. So the office number is 504-832-9200. The website is gregoryricks.com. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Mom, it stinks. Hush, I'm almost done. All right, now you're safe from bugs in the backyard. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outdoor fun. Call Mosquito Joe today. When you call, they come out and they do the spraying. Mosquito Joe's time-release capsule lasts for about a month. No more sticky bug sprays. Take back your backyard. NewOrleans.MosquitoJoe.com. NewOrleans.MosquitoJoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
Hey, I love your show.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
That's exactly what I needed to know.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
My age that I can claim Social Security is 66. If I wait to 67, I'll get an additional 8%. But you have to wait the full year. Do they prorate it like if you do it at 66 and a half, do you get 4%?
You get a credit for each month you defer. And here's a little technicality. Delayed retirement credits don't get calculated and applied till the beginning of the next calendar year. So if you're deferring and getting delayed retirement credits and then you turn it on middle of another year, those delayed credits will be factored in the beginning of next year and made up for what you didn't have and paid at that higher rate at the next calendar year.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Everything that kills me makes me feel alive.
Hey, y'all. Tune in next hour. We have Jude Heath of J. Heath and Company CPAs joining us, and we already have a question for him out the gate regarding IRA distributions and is there any relief from IDA. So that'll be a topic we jump on here in about 20 minutes when he's on with us. When we went to break, I was talking about crypto hurdles that are being added. So once again, some more added to that. Another facet of the bill requiring attention is the new reporting standards laid out by the IRS. While crypto funds custodians already possess the capabilities to record and file transactions, experts are expecting difficulties tracking exchanges in the market. All crypto funds and custodians will need to ensure their technology and staff can maintain the records essential to ensuring all transactions are properly reported. So, they're not, you can't say I lost it, we didn't do it. That's a problem. The SEC is continually enacting new rules and regulations that will make digital assets more centralized market. Shutting down Coinbase's lending program was a move towards a centralized future that exemplified the governing body's increased desire for structure and providing the utmost, here it is, and providing the utmost protection to the investor and ensuring lenders stay whole. That is it right there, that line in the article written by Amanda Bonello. They are going to look to protect investors to make sure money's not lost to corruption, through crime, through taking advantage of people, through misleading people, and ensuring lenders stay whole, that people aren't getting in over their head. Probably what's coming is it's probably, and this will be a game changer for all of it. If it hasn't been, it's probably going to be at some point be defined and declared, here's the word, a security. So that's going to change everything. So I really believe that's where it's going. So let's talk about Social Security for a moment. You know, back October, Social Security Administration basically said, hey, Social Security is going up 5.9% in 2022. That 5.9% cost of living adjustment will begin with benefits payable to more than 64 million Social Security beneficiaries in January. So that's a pretty good number, once again, on the increase. They also kind of gave a guess to what Medicare premiums might be. They actually estimated it at 6.7%. Hang on to your seats. The standard premium for Medicare's outpatient care coverage will jump by 14.5% for 2022. That's a heck of a lot more than that estimate of 6.7%. That was a giant swing and a miss right there. Swing and a miss. The standard premium for Part B, which covers outpatient care and durable equipment, will be $170.10 next year, up $21.60 from $148.50 this year. Yeah. Let that soak in. Your premium was $148.50. Now it's going to be $170.10. So that was announced this week. The program's trustees had estimated this past summer the premium would be $158.50. You know, folks on fixed income, you know, that's not helping things. The deductible for Part B will be $233, up $30. That's a 14.8% increase from this year. The bigger than anticipated increase is partly attributed to rising prices and utilization across the healthcare system and congressional action that limited the increase in 2021 Part B premium. So another part of this, yeah, they're catching up. Additionally, contingency reserves have been increased to account for potential new treatment costs incurred by the system. Meanwhile, the deductible for Medicare Part A, the hospital coverage per benefit period, which generally starts when you're admitted to the hospital, will be $1,556 in 2022. That's an increase of $72 from this year's benefit of $1,484. Yeah, there's you some inflation right there. I was not expecting that Medicare standard premium to go up that much. I was kind of trusting the estimate of around 6.7%. And heck, that's double right there coming in at that. So we're going to feel some more inflation coming. It's not ending, but this doesn't go on forever. Over the past 170 years, we've had 20 times that inflation was up more than 7%. Last year, inflation in 2020 was up 1.4%. In the 2010s, inflation averaged 1.8%. Fuel is probably the largest impact of all of it, but I'm just telling you, my take on it, yeah, this is it catching up. A bunch of you probably remember Jimmy Carter's presidency, and as well as high interest rates. I don't think we're going to see high interest rates because the Fed doesn't want to pay a lot of interest rate on their debt. So good thing there. Uncle Sam can't afford a lot of interest rate as well. We are a leveraged society. Part of making this work is the GDP has to grow every year, so they need you to keep spending and buying and leveraging. Long as you manage it well, that's the society that we're in. So once again, Scott Minerd of Guggenheim thinks we're going to ultimately see the Fed rate to get up to 2 to 2.25. I think it's not going to quite get there before they halt it, but it's going to cause some volatility in the markets as well. It's going to cause bond values to go down. And that's where you might need to look at how you're managing your assets and get proper diversification from asset classes. I'm a big fan. I like me some stock. Yeah. But I like to do it through the indices. I like the S&P 500, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and others as well. Why? That gets me diversification. We're not going to beat the indexes consistently. If you can't beat them, join them. I like me some bonds, but I like it through ETFs, exchange-traded funds. That gets me diversification, gets me efficiency as well. But I'm also looking for shorter duration for a little while because the increase in interest rates don't impact me as much. I like index-linked investing where I can get a portion of the upside of the market. When volatility starts and the market drops, I don't have any negative exposure because I have an insurance company take off the risk. We use insurance companies to take that risk off. And then tactical, when momentum shifts, some of your money should be in that asset class and following the momentum. And also is kind of prepared for that unexpected thing we don't see coming that could even put that asset class to cash. If you want more information about the Invest 50/50 philosophy, call my office, 504-832-9200. Go to my website, GregoryRicks.com, and also share with your friends the show, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
All right, coming up next on Winning at Life, Jude Heath's going to join us, and we're going to run that question from Jack in Covington. He dipped into his IRA for hurricane recovery. Will he be able to get some sort of tax help on that? That's next. And if you have a question, 504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is for informational purposes only and does not recommend the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, legal advice, or tax advice. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The information and opinions contained herein are provided by third parties and have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Neither AE Wealth Management nor advisors providing investment advisory services through AE Wealth Management recommend or facilitate the buying or selling of cryptocurrencies. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The firm offers insurance services. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
From the Gregory Ricks & Associates Wealth Management Studios, WRNO-FM, New Orleans, an iHeartRadio station.
No quick fix for inflation. I'm Pam Huso, Fox News. From the grocery store to the gas pump, Americans are paying more.
Thanks to the highest inflation in 30 years, a Thanksgiving turkey is going to cost you more than any time this century. Americans also feeling the squeeze at the pump. President Biden recognizing the skyrocketing costs.
Do you ever think you'd be paying this much for a gallon of gas? In some parts of California, they're paying $4.50 a gallon.
The price of a 15-pound turkey has surged from $11 in 2018 to nearly $21 today.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson, inflation fears could stymie part of the president's economic agenda. He's hoping to sign a social spending plan totaling nearly $2 trillion, but it's unclear if enough Democrats will support it. A bipartisan infrastructure bill did cross the finish line, and the president will sign that on Monday.
President Biden intends to name a coordinator to oversee the spending and implementation of a $1 trillion infrastructure bill, part of an effort, the president told cabinet members, to ensure money is used efficiently and effectively.
Fox's Jared Halpern. It's a somber day in Houston where a 16-year-old high school student is being laid to rest. Brianna Rodriguez was one of 9 people who died after concertgoers rushed the stage at the Astroworld Music Festival. Nearly 100 lawsuits have been filed. Closing arguments begin Monday in Wisconsin in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial. His mother, Wendy, was in the courtroom when he testified in his own defense.
I was scared, but Kyle did a wonderful job, and I couldn't be prouder of him.
Prosecutors have asked the judge to allow the jury to consider lesser charges. A decision is expected today. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the second hour this morning of Winning at Life, live financial news talk radio. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. Been doing this for over 11 years, counting on 12. You know how a kid says, yeah, I'm 11 going on 12. So we're going on 12 years of this radio and looking forward to continuing to help you improve your financial decisions. So big impact on the show, caller questions. So join us. This hour, we're going to try to help you improve your financial situation. The number to call is 504-260-0995. Join us on Facebook Live as well. Yes, we stream live over there. Go to the Winning at Life page, like it, friend it, so you can be updated on the live streams when they air. So go there. My page, guess what my Facebook page is? Gregory Ricks. Yeah, you can go over to that page as well. The website's gregoryricks.com. A cool thing on it, you can find out there's a media page, information about the firm, the team. The media page will give you more information about the show as well. To connect there, you can sign up for the newsletter. The Winning at Life app will kind of connect you to that as well by downloading it. You can text, email, call the show through the Winning at Life app. The email directly is info@gregoryricks.com. Let me do a quick check here to see if we have anybody sending us some messages this morning. See number of downloads and such, but no questions through the app yet. And we had a question in last hour regarding IRA distributions regarding Hurricane Ida information, and we should be able to get that to you in a little bit. That help. We're expecting Jude Heath in studio this hour, the middle hour as well. Next week on the second hour, we have I think we have two guests next week. We have Dwayne Stein, which is host of Mortgage Gumbo. You could hear him on a lot of stations that we're on in the morning, but definitely you can also connect to him through the app. And he's kind of all things mortgages and helping you with your credit and understanding interest rates as well. There is an article I sent over to him this week, but I also had heard him speaking about it recently. Let me pull up where I texted Dwayne this week regarding that. He had talked about, and he told me he was talking about it this morning on his show. I was prepping for my 3 hours of live radio this morning, so I could not listen to his show. But he had told me he was going to discuss this, and he touched on it last week. But as I think it had him really fired up last week when I heard he was kind of passionate about the discussion. But as Zillow, you know, that online site where you can go look at home prices and values and I don't know if it links, I don't know what all it does, but it's kind of all things real estate. But Zillow sells 2,000 homes and dismantling its house flipping business. They had reached a deal to sell about 2,000 homes from its ill-fated house flipping program, the company's biggest bulk sell, as it starts unloading thousands of homes and terminates the business. Prentium Partners out of New York, it's a New York-based investment firm, agreed to buy the Zillow homes across 20 U.S. markets and plans to rent them out. Zillow said they intend to sell roughly 9,800 homes that they own, plus an additional 8,200 it had been in the process of buying. Wow. Neighborhood of 20,000 homes. The company expects to lose between 5 to 7% on these sales in the transaction with Prentium. Zillow received market price for the properties, people said. Zillow's home flipping practice involved buying homes, lightly renovating them, and then selling them quickly, making money on the transaction fees and home price appreciation. The company and other iBuyers used an algorithm to make home price estimates and determine what it paid to home sellers. The company expects record losses of more than $500 million from the home flipping by the end of this year and laying off a quarter of its staff. I think that algorithm they had and how they went about it with home prices increasing, I don't think that went very well for them. That's a lot of houses to buy, because you can go to Zillow, put your address in, and they give you an estimate of the value of the house. And I think they got behind on that, using a computer to make that decision. And I'll put it this way, without boots on the ground, I think is kind of problematic from that standpoint. But that's crazy. $500 million in losses. My guess, it's probably going to be worse than that. So that's my thoughts on that. If you want to hear Jude, I think he's also replays after Dwayne. Dwayne replays after our show, and you can catch him on the Winning at Life app. And I'm sure he's got some more thoughts to share on that.
You want to do Walter first?
Yeah, let's talk to Walter, 504-260-0995.
Hey, Walter, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen. Enjoy the show.
Awesome. Thanks.
Question on the Social Security. I'm 60. My wife is 62. 61. Next year, she'll be eligible for Social Security. She has not worked. She's been able, I work, and she's been able to stay home and play grandma for the past 10 years or so. So we're thinking about turning on her Social Security when she turns 62 in order to help pay down debt before I hopefully retire around 65. So I guess, is that a kind of my question is that sound feasible, or should we wait on hers, or?
Who is going to have the largest Social Security benefit between you two?
I am.
Okay. And she's turning hers on based on her work record, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Does she have 35 years in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, she's taking a pretty good haircut on that. That's not going to be made up in the future.
Yeah, I figured that. But however, whenever I turned my on, then she would be able to file off of mine, correct?
Well, if it's a larger, if 50% of your benefit based on your FRA, which is going to be 67, if that's a larger benefit, but it still receives that haircut doesn't go away just because you're turning it on. She's locking in that reduction even when she switches to yours. Were you aware of that?
Sure.
So
yeah, I knew that it would be lower than what was expected, but I would think that it would still be. I'm going based off of the Social Security website. When if you put on out down at the bottom what her expected would be when I turned mine on, it's definitely an increase in what she would be making based off of her work.
Okay, let me do some math real quick here, just to make this simple to understand. let's say her, and I'm going to use everything based on age 67. Let's say your benefit's going to be $2,000 a month at 67. And her benefit at 67, let's make it simple, is going to be $800 a month if she waited till then. But you would have to turn yours on for her to get that record as well to that increase. So assuming everything being equal, hers is 800 and yours is 2,000. So 50% of yours would be $1,000. So yes, that would be a larger benefit, and it will increase her benefit by $200 if we were all waiting till then. But she's going to turn hers on at 62, and that $800 is going to be reduced. When she switches to that 1,000 benefit, it's going to be reduced by the same percentage that the 800 was. So you will get some increase. It's not going to be a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
In that case, but that haircut goes forward to when she switches to your benefit if it's going to be a larger benefit. I don't have a problem with turning it on long as you understand how it works going forward. You've got the largest benefit, and we really need that benefit to go to FRA. And for all listeners, just understanding kind of conceptually how this goes. So if she turns it on at 62 or her FRA at 67, by age 80, no matter which one she turns on, she's going to basically have withdrawn the same amount over that period, because the 67 is larger than the 62, but the 62's coming out for 5 years earlier. So she does receive that money. It's just living beyond age 80, assuming she's in good health. You both make it to 65. She's living to 90-something. You're living to late 80s. And she's going, when you pass, she's going to draw the larger check. But beyond age 80, if you waited to FRA, you're receiving more money thereafter, or even deferred to 70 than you would have at age 62. 62, you're locking it in. But I don't have a problem with the smaller account turning on earlier, because it does help. And that's where ultimately the decision is, where rubber meets the road, is kind of what I always like to say. That's the difference makers. If you need that money to make things work long time, then that's the right decision.
Thank you, Walter, for your call. If you want to be next, 504-260-0995. Jude Heath, CPA, up next to let us know if dipping in your IRA can have any tax help when you file. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I want you to think about what retirement looks like if you plan and you save like you should. Travel, family, vacations, carefree. Now imagine what retirement looks like if you aren't prepared. Hi, I'm Gregory Ricks. Why don't you stop by and let's find out where you stand. Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or gregoryricks.com.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Gumbo Nation, this is Dwayne Stein. My team and I make dreams come true daily. Buying a home could seem stressful if working with the wrong lender. Mortgage Gumbo removes that with our exclusive pre-approval process called Fast Track. Don't let other lender horror stories scare you, like last-minute turndowns leaving you homeless. Get your exact buying power so you can shop with confidence. When buying a home, you don't want a lender right most of the time. With Fast Track, we get it right all the time. Visit snapsendandsave.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Less than half of Americans have drawn up a will. If you don't have one, you know you need to get one. But what if you do have a will? Is it up to date? Has anyone in your family been married, divorced, or passed away? Have any new family members been born or adopted? Don't leave your loved ones in a bind. Call me and we'll make you a plan or update your existing plan. Hi, I'm Wes Blanchard, an estate planning attorney in Metairie. What's your plan? Find me at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
To determine if your Social Security will be subject to taxation, you have to be aware of the provisional income levels. The following forms of income figure into your provisional income calculation. And the way we get to that is 1/2 of your Social Security income, any distributions taken out of your tax-deferred accounts like IRAs, 401ks, any 1099 or interest generated from your taxable investments, any employment income, any rental income, and get this, interest from municipal bonds, those have to be figured in to determine if Social Security is going to be taxable.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
I'm hooked on kissing you, getting you turned on, buzzing and loving on you all night long, like a hit song on the radio. You already know.
Hey, y'all. This is Winning at Life, live financial news talk radio. Thanks for joining us today. We talk about money on the show. It is live financial news talk radio. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. Been doing this for you for 11 years. If you have a financial situation or tax questions, need some help regarding those tax returns or the child credit, hurricane relief options, or just want to get more efficiency, we have Jude Heath with us this hour of J. Heath and Company, CPAs. And you can call in and ask your question. It's 504-260-0995 and reach out to us through the Winning at Life app as well. Jude, how you been?
Great. It's a busy time of year for local IDA tax folks. The IRS, although we get until January 3rd to file in the region as an IDA extension, the IRS is closing the e-filing option a week from today, on Saturday. And so we're rushing everybody up because the IRS is not handling paper filing very well right now.
Not to hate on them any, but they're not handling a lot of stuff very well. Are they still, for the most part, working remotely?
A lot of them are, of course, that they have problems matching up documents. I just answered a letter for a client. You know, anytime a client gets a nasty letter from them, it's disconcerting to say the least. They didn't match his payment, and you know, they sent him a nasty note that he owes interest and penalty, and I have record that he clearly paid, and so you can't get him on the phone. So we just, as our industry progresses, we just have to make sure that everything goes out certified mail to protect our clients' interests.
Wow, that's crazy. And so a lot of returns got pushed back to beyond the deadlines, and I have this feeling that nothing's slowing down for you because January's about to be here in, 6 weeks? And that's a whole new tax year of getting after it. Hey, did you hear the caller earlier? We had a caller regarding some of the Hurricane Ida relief questions, and he's took a distribution from his IRA and was wanting to know if there's any relief or way he can put that money back in. He's outside of that 60-day rollover option, you know, that's kind of available, aggregate of all accounts, once every 12 months. So any help for him there?
Yeah, I just worked on a CARES Act IRA for a client that he took money out. Their intention, if things get better, is to pay it back, But in the middle of that, you're able to spread that income out over 3 years. So you don't have to pay the penalty on the withdrawal, and you get 3 years to pay it back. And so I told the client that in the event that things turn around and they can put that money back in, that we'll get them any taxes that they paid back.
Okay, just want to be clear, Jude. This is regarding Hurricane Ida. He took the 10,000 distribution in September of this year because of Hurricane Ida. He needed that money. So if CARES Act has some leftover help from that, but he didn't take it out because of a COVID situation.
I am not aware of any removal of Ida for either the 10% penalty or the taxation. Obviously, there's going to be some casualty losses. He'll be able to negate some income based on that, but not knowing his tax situation, his losses, his uninsured losses, it would be difficult to know that we would get any relief from removing that $10,000 from his retirement.
Yeah, so he doesn't have any options of putting that back in because he's past the 60 days. I didn't see anything in What and Where. I'm pretty attuned to that as well, just like you are, but I thought I'd ask you since you're on the show with us today, and because I didn't see it, I just thought maybe that's something I missed. But yeah, that's going to be
no
tax
nothing
bill.
Beyond the 60 days.
So beyond that, he does have some options, regarding losses and stuff. So how does that kind of work on your tax return with damages and such? Is there some tax relief to deduct or expense that or itemize it?
Yeah. In presidentially declared, disaster areas, which of course the IDA is, you still have that 10% AGI floor that you have to, deduct from your losses. But so it'd be good to, if there's any control over income as to whether, he has to take any more income, you have to kind of watch that through the end of the year to control your 10% floor. But yeah, you do get your losses, and it would be uninsured, so I don't know his insurance situation. I know talking with different folks, a lot of the insurance estimates are coming back low because of different roofing costs and things like that. So it seems like there might be some uninsured losses that are getting ready to hit some returns coming up.
Yeah, could that be because of deductibles that's causing that, or is it just that the estimates are coming in under cost?
It's both. Those wind and hail deductibles are high. It's a co-insurance, and it's a lot of them are percentages now. And so your first, $8,000 or something like that, you cover that. That's your piece of the co-insurance.
Yeah.
So it could be both, and for clients and taxpayers and the insured that have had damages, obviously your first goal is just to get back living again, get your roof back over your house, and start to fix your damage. And you got to pull all these estimates together along with what you've spent, and try to calculate how much you're out. So it's some homework you have to do once when you're in these loss situations.
Yeah, I've been hearing this a good bit lately about the estimates coming under. There was a couple conversations this week regarding that, and one couple of them said, "Yeah, we've already got the check," and I said, "What is it going to cover?" "Oh no, we're just going to as we go through this process, we can go reapply for that to be adjusted or corrected." And then another person that their estimate was like 50% of what their losses were, so they're having to go back and go through that again there. So this is quite different. And I don't remember that much going back to Hurricane Katrina if it was similar situations, but one thing that's impacting, like you mentioned, is those wind deductibles are much higher, and we know half the people don't have adequate emergency savings. So, yeah, this is going to be kind of problematic on this go-around.
Yeah, one thing that's different this time is, and I think you hit on it, Gregory, is with other storms and whatnot, I don't remember this whole reconsideration process. And I've heard that from a number of clients that, either the agent or, the inspector, they came out and said, yeah, if costs are a little different, just, submit for reinspection. And that sounds fuzzy math to me. I'd like to know what I'm going to get. So I'm feeling like some of these bigger ones are going to wind up, in litigation. I think that, whenever you ask for reconsideration, that feels like you're almost towards the end and you're asking for a little on the back end.
I agree with you. And if there's a big difference that you're thinking it is already, I'd kind of like that deal worked out on the front end. Because how you could get and let's say if you're a third short, you get a third way, this contractor's going to want to be paid. And I could see that getting ugly on both ends, with the people you're having do the work are going to expect to be paid for the project, and you're going to expect the insurance company to pay, and you're in the middle of that. So you're going to have the contractor coming after you, and then you're going to have to go after the insurance company. I could see this getting drawn out and ugly over time.
Right, and just sheer numbers, Gregory. I mean, when you look at the numbers of folks that I've heard that, a lot of roofs need to be replaced, whatnot, a lot of interior damage, the folks that are handling those claims at the different insurance companies, they haven't beefed up staff, and so, just like, the SBA folks, for business owners that are looking to borrow, they're getting their calls answered, but not a whole lot of help. We're under there's a little bit of a labor shortage in some of these areas, and so you're kind of asking for help that folks that are already working double time. So it's gonna be interesting to watch this thing progress. We're gonna have to keep tempers calm and cool, and try to get through this and get our houses and our businesses back in order.
Okay. We're going to be coming up on a break here in a few seconds, and let's talk about creating tax efficiencies going forward for our listeners. Those that are dealing with these gaps, my suggestion is get in there and tighten that up as quick as possible. Don't assume this is going to get worked out for you in the end. I would not want a bad outcome by them not doing what you think they're going to do. If you assume, you might be wrong.
We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Hey, James Parker here from Winning at Life. Something that's come up on the show over the last 10 years is that if you're not at your old job, maybe your 401k shouldn't be either. But do you really know why we say that? It's a funny thing. We put a few $100 in our 401k every month. It ends up to be thousands of dollars every year, hundreds of thousands of dollars over our career, and you don't really know that much about it. How do you invest it? How do you diversify? What do you buy? What do you avoid? If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, ask Gregory. Ask Gregory is our new podcast with these financial topics broken down into specific little chunks. So if you have a financial situation or you just want to learn more about money, ask Gregory. Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
And I want to thank you for all of your help.
That's exactly what I needed to know.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
If you've been listening to Winning at Life for a while now, you probably already know that estate planning is more than just a will. You may need a trust. You definitely need both of your powers of attorney. So what's your plan? Hi, I'm Wes Blanchard, an estate planning attorney, offices in Metairie. Listen, don't leave your loved ones in a bind. Call me, and we'll make you a plan or update your existing plan. Find me at wjblanchardlaw.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live 6 days a week. And if we're not on at the moment, you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Most people think of Crime Stoppers as only a tip reporting line, but we're so much more. Crime Stoppers G&O has worked in our area schools, offering prevention presentations on trending topics from drugs, bullying, online safety, suicide prevention, and much more. And we have a high school teen leadership program which provides students with a first-hand look at the criminal justice profession as a future career, while learning to be an advocate for their fellow students. So to learn more, visit safeschoolsla.com or call 504-837-8477.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. A lawsuit on behalf of the nearly 800 individuals who were injured when the crowd rushed the stage at that Astroworld concert in Houston last weekend has been filed. The attorney filing the suit says it could have been avoided.
Live Nation, the organizers, the promoters, the performers did not have what I believe was crowd control protocol. They did not have safety protocol. They did not have medical assistance protocol.
Ben Crump on Fox, 9 people were killed. A New England toy maker says a holiday backlog in orders is typical, but the current supply chain slowdown is making things worse than ever.
We have been in Christmas mode since August already, and right now orders are taking up to 4 weeks to ship.
Michael Rainville's owner and president of the Maple Landmark Company in Middlebury, Vermont. America is listening to Fox News.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Winning at Life, live financial news talk radio. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. Are taxes going up? This is how I've been asking the questions. When recent public speaking events, I'll ask the audience. I said, look, and I've already done this a few times where I've got them to raise their hands for something. And the question caused that response where a number of attendees would raise their hands. So I ask it this way. For those that think taxes are going to stay the same or go down, raise your hand. Or in this case, blow your horn. And if you're not driving, you could raise your hand. You know what? We're not getting a response when I ask that question. Generally what happens is people laugh. And we do know it's going, the Tax Cut Jobs Act that was passed under Trump's administration early in sunsets, I believe, January 1st of 2026. So I'm going to ask Jude, do you think taxes are staying the same or going down?
I don't think they're going down. I think they're going to go up. One of the things that we saw in the Build Back Better negotiations was there's a lot of needs, and they have to figure out a way to pay for them. And so, when I talk to my clients, I just talked to a man yesterday that selling a building, and wanted to know, should he hold on or wait for taxes to come down? And I said, no, that's mostly capital gain. We want to sell that as soon as you can negotiate a good price. Doesn't have to be this year, but I don't see capital gains taxes going down for this man. And so that's my feel on it, is that we've got a lot to pay for, be it the unwinding, quantitative easement. There's a list. And the only way we can pay for it is taxing somebody.
Yeah, and he'd be waiting quite a while for taxes to go down. I'm just not seeing that. Even with, say, change in administration next year, I really don't see that happening as well. Taxes going down. What I do see that I'm pretty confident is they're going to raise the capital gain tax and have probably another bracket along with an increase in that. Is that kind of the feeling you're getting?
Yes, and that bracket, might or might not feel good. Sometimes folks, when they get caught in a bracket, they feel like, well, I'm not hardly making anything. Well, yeah, but that's what Congress voted in, and that's the bracket you're in. So
you could see it.
Yeah,
even
I agree with you, Gregory.
You could see it not only have a higher bracket in there, but that bracket could push capital gains at a certain level. They've talked about being taxed as ordinary income as well. That's significant.
Yes, and there was some conversation about a stepped up capital gains tax. I just talked to a man yesterday trying to figure out whether he wants to hold on to his building and let his children figure it out upon his death. And, I encouraged him, if you same tax, same family, sell it. Sell your building now, and that way you've got some money to put in. But of course, it's an emotional thing. He doesn't want to do it, and I understand. But I'm kind of telling folks that with asset prices, taxes, now's a real good time to if you're thinking about at least rebalancing or liquidating. Now's a good time to start looking at that stuff.
That's kind of interesting. You're kind of like, if you're thinking of selling it, you probably should versus trying to keep it in the family. So you alluded to there where and they've talked about this, that step up basis going away possibly on some items or everything. And that's significant right there. And I think that's a dangerous thing on perpetual wealth being kept. And that's just going to cause a lot more assets because people have value in property or businesses and such. And by inheriting it where it wouldn't be taxable on being inherited is going to be taxable no matter what on that. And then that's going to cause assets to have to be sold because people, they can have wealth and property and assets, but may not have wealth in cash. So that's a big impact. What do you say?
I agree with you. I think at the very least, it incentivizes a repricing. I don't know, we haven't seen any law on it as just, bubbling, but I just don't know what's the value of that, what do you have to do? Do you have to get an appraiser in? Can you get 2 or 3 appraisals? It's so many questions, but for what's law right now and for, the clients that are coming in saying, what do I do? I think, it's at least a conversation of, what do you have? What's on your net worth statement? Should we look at liquidating some of this stuff to cash, maybe replacing some assets, repositioning things to set you up, for the next 5, 10, 15 years, that sort of thing. I think that you probably say the same thing. If somebody comes in heavy in real estate, it's time to, think about, look at that and see where those different properties are going.
Yeah, when you talk about somebody holding a number of rental properties and real estate, how long are you looking to hold it? And let's say we've got somebody that's already retired from having a job out there, but they're still kind of doing this real estate business. And, one of the questions is when you are unable to kind of do these repairs or deal with it on an ongoing basis, who's taking that over, and if there is how is that going to transition? Because a lot of the cases is they don't have anybody say, yeah, my kids aren't interested in this at all, and my wife, she surely doesn't want, if something happened to me, to deal with it. So that means that property's probably going to get sold. So that process needs to start being, you need to think about how are you going to unwind this at what time? And if that's something you won't start doing, maybe start thinking about that first piece now. Now you can't, and I don't necessarily want to do things based upon what you think may happen in taxes, because it's just like something could be tax-free and that could go away in the future. And taxes can go up and taxes can go down in the future. Why? It's happened in the past and it's probably going to be that way in the future. But you have to have consideration of everything in doing so. And look, capital gains taxes is a great, great deal, but you do have to kind of think about everything going forward and shifting to that. And if you do put it off and you're higher taxes, it is what it is there, but your assets can appreciate more. You can have more revenue off of that property. I think it's just not necessarily, I'm worried about taxes going up, let me sell it from that standpoint. I don't know that that should just be the only basis for the decision. What say you?
Agreed.
Yeah, so it really is a lot to think about. So what are some of your recommendations? And we're about to come on a break, so we're going to hold up right here. But when we come back, let's talk about some of your recommendations for action people should take for the rest of the year, because this is the time to prep and be ready to do tax returns, because this year's winding down. So if you're looking to harvest some tax harvesting, sell some stock, position for capital gain, or maybe position some real estate. I've had discussions with people about, I can make $1 million off my beach house. And my question would, okay, you can. Are you going to want to be an owner of a beach house later? Yeah, I'm going to want to buy another one, but that's going to cost you more. So, you have to think through this, because then all of a sudden you're going to go find some deal soon. I think as real estate prices are going to stay with us that have increased. So let's talk about game planning for this last part to get ready to do tax returns next year when we come back.
All right, we got Gregory Ricks, the financial advisor, with us. We got Jude Heath, the CPA, with us. If you have a question for either or both, 504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
You can email me, info@gregoryricks.com. If you're seeking some help, you're listening to this show and kind of like, I want to know more about the Invest 50/50. I want to know more. Come into the office. We've got one in Metairie, Mandeville, Gulfport, and Baton Rouge. So one number to call, and you could be in Alabama, Texas, Florida, and we have a huge audience in the southeast of the U.S., and we can do business online through Zoom. We got FedEx, Zoom, e-documents, all that kind of stuff going on.
Gregory Ricks and Associates. Find us at GregoryRicks.com or call 504-832-9200. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through Management LLC.
Mosquitoes. We know them as flying, blood-sucking pests, but did you know that mosquitoes are actually highly intelligent? They can smell human breath, our sweat helps them choose their next meal, and they use our body heat to find just the right place to bite. Outsmart mosquitoes with help from Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe has this time-release capsule that they spray that slowly releases its mosquito death over a course of a month. NewOrleans.mosquitojoe.com. NewOrleans.mosquitojoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
My mother just inherited a couple of annuities. If you could explain the difference between a government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision is.
You now make too much income to contribute to a Roth IRA.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
You all are so good.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
I kind of like using 3 asset classes. I like exchange-traded funds, index-linked stocks. We take those ETFs and we'll invest in stocks through the indexes on the ETFs. We'll use bonds also through exchange-traded funds. And then we like to use annuities to take risk off in the third asset class, to take the risk off, but we're still wanting to index link to get the upside of the market without downside exposure. And that blend is subject to your risk. That's kind of how I look at it. And when we look at the numbers and run historicals, that shows the higher probability of success.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Knocking on my door, but you're gonna have to wait on the porch. Better have the wine and get it going.
Hey, y'all. We're going to be wrapping up Tax Hour in a few minutes. We have Jude Heath of J. Heath and Company. You know, a number of things. You hear those late night commercials, or maybe during the day now too. I hear them. I think they're kind of annoying, but it's that thing. If you owe $10,000 or more to Uncle Sam, call us and we'll get you some help. You know, it's just that haunting feeling of the IRS is looking for you. You owe them some money. They're sending you some letters. Surely don't ignore those. And Jude, I'm sure you'll chime in with me here, is it's better to interact with them, and you can't get them on the phone, but you need to respond, or they need to call you up and ask for some help, because the IRS will work with you on past debt, which is probably generated from lack of sending in returns. And that's going to hurt you one day if you're wanting to buy something and needing proof of income, especially like a house. But just get that worry off of you. From that standpoint, when somebody's in that situation, what do you suggest they do, Jude?
We engage with them. And, you know, like you say, a lot of times just coming in, dropping off their box of records, whatever it is, they walk out with, they're standing a little taller. You can tell the relief that at least I've made a move that at some point we're going to be coming to an end of this. The worry, the anxiety, looking over your shoulder, all the things you talked about, it might be coming to an end one day. And so what we do is, you know, we get started filing. If the IRS is not notifying them of any deficiencies, get started filing. We'll once we get best tax right within the law, we'll start sending those returns in as they become available, catching things up. If they owe something, we'll notify the IRS that we got a few more years left, and then we're going to start working on a payment plan. And the payment plans are very liberal. Yes, they charge you interest and penalties, but they give you time. They'll give you 6, 7 years, even longer, to monthly payments to start to work things out. And then as you get a little bonus, I tell folks that are in this area, you know, work hard at your job, you know, do good work, because we're going to need income down the road to pay this off. And so if you get a bonus or something like that, we'll throw that at that debt. And so it's not dire, it's not the end of the world, but you're right, we do need to get our arms around it, figure out what it is, get a plan for it, and see to the point where it's going to be paid off in 3, 4, 5, 7 years.
And if you're looking to reach out to Jude and his team and get help on this, as well as if you don't owe back taxes and you've been doing your returns, but want to start getting help, and I always kind of say, just like the caller earlier that had that tax question, and we couldn't offer him relief because the IRS has not offered up relief on distributions from qualified accounts. But I always say, if you have a question, and one way to start is speak to somebody. Because, Jude, I'm always encourage people, you've got a question about Social Security, 401k, even tax question, call my firm. And for those that call about taxes, we're going to send them your way to get that question answered. And I encourage them just to, even if they've got this worry, you know, it could just start with a phone call. Have a few minute conversation to make this work for you. And wherever you're listening from, I probably say, you know, you need to give him a call. It's jheathcpa.com. And let's see, what's that phone number over there? I'm pulling it up right here. The office number is 504-832-1873. 504-832-1873. And if you don't remember all that, call my office over at gregoryrex.com and we can get you some help. So what's some tips about to get ready for tax time? We've got 6 weeks left of this year. What can they start doing?
Well, of course, assemble your records and be ready to go. If you've got to do some accounting, adding some numbers together to get some sums, get started on some of that in advance. As a general rule, I'm going to always try to not pay more tax this year than you not pay more tax this year than you possibly can. So we're always going to try to defer tax if we get in that choice, unless we're doing bracket management or something like that with somebody that's getting close to retirement. But if we have a choice, we're gonna pay the least and then live to fight another year in 2022. And so from our standpoint, we're going to be sending out organizers the first part of January. A tax organizer is just a check sheet of how you've been filing in the past. It gives you a good guide, gives you a chance to identify anything new that came up this year. A lot of new folks are playing around in crypto. The IRS is requiring you to say on your return if you are investing in crypto now. They want a good list of those folks that are involved in that. So, come together towards a tax package that we can start putting together a tax return, letting you look at it, and then eventually, as we get closer to filing season, we tweak it. If we can't do any better, then we sign and we e-file for you before April the 15th.
Did in that infrastructure bill that passed a week or so ago, was there some of that regulation of the banks notifying of transactions? I remember there was talk about that in there. And
there was, and it's the magic number was $10,000, and I haven't read that piece, but it seems like it's going to be almost kind of like what's required of the brokers, like a 1099 consolidated.
But I know they were talking about banks doing notifications of $600 or more as well.
I don't know if that hit the final bill, but specifically dispositions or sales. If you sell something, whoever is the intermediary is required, according to this bill, to send you a 1099. And so I think that's specifically directed at crypto, where it might not have been 1099 reporting in the past on that stuff.
Yeah, well, they've been tightening down on that, and yes, there was specific language in this recent bill regarding the $10,000 exceeding $10,000. They've got to notify the IRS, and if you're out there doing cryptos and think you're outside of the view of the IRS, you are mistaken there. And you better, it's better to come clean instead of getting that notice 2 years from now that you forgot to pay them or you forgot to put something on your tax return. That's okay. We did it for you, and here's what you owe. They will do that. So it's just better to come forward on profits because they are on the hunt for it, and I think there's more regs coming, and it's not just regarding cryptos. It's kind of all areas. They're they're working on getting more notifications of cash transactions as well, where you know, and that's one of the tax avoidance tools, dealing in cash. So if you're running cash through your bank account, they may be notified in the future about stuff like that. Let's see.
A lot of people don't know there's a 10-year statute of limitation on capital gains transactions. With what they're talking about beefing up the IRS's enforcement, it could very well be that they get enforcement built up and then go retro back 6-8 years, because you got 10 years that you have to prove your cost basis on a capital gain transaction. If you didn't report it in crypto, boy, the information's not going to get any cleaner 8 years from now.
So once you've done your return, they can go back 10 years if you left something out. Okay, so if you don't do
on capital gains transaction.
Okay, so if you don't do a return, how far can they go back? The
statute doesn't begin to run. So
that's a good point. That's all I wanted you to say is it doesn't start until you do a return. So it's really important to that. So I know on your blog, you've got some articles regarding cash in on depreciation, tax savers, steer clear of wash rule if you're selling stock by year end. So you've got a good bit of tips over there at jheathcpa.com. Thank you for being with us this week, Jude, and take care out there, okay?
All right.
Thanks so much.
If you got a question for the show, 504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is for informational purposes only and does not recommend the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, legal advice, or tax advice. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Raw conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The information and opinions contained herein are provided by third parties and have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Neither AE Wealth Management nor advisors providing investment advisory services through AE Wealth Management recommend or facilitate the buying or selling of cryptocurrencies. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The firm offers insurance services. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
From the Gregory Ricks & Associates Wealth Management Studios, WRNO-FM, New Orleans, an iHeartRadio station.
Sticker shock from food to fuel. I'm Pam Huso, Fox News. We're paying more and getting less as inflation impacts much of what we buy.
The recent consumer price index numbers are showing Americans what they already know, that items across the board are costing more and your bill at the grocery store is going up. From October of last year to October of this year, the average price of goods is up 6.2%. In the grocery store, prices in the protein section are particularly bad. Meat is up over 14% in price.
Fox's Madison Allworth, filling up the gas tank is also costing more, and the price to heat your home is expected to jump this winter. A shooting at a convenience store in Richmond, Virginia has left 2 boys dead and 2 men seriously wounded. Police say the boys were not related, and it's unclear if the adult victims were connected with the children. Police are poring over surveillance video from last night. A funeral in Houston for one of the 9 people who died after attending the Astroworld Music Festival. People were crushed and couldn't breathe when the massive crowd pushed toward the stage. Attorney Benjamin Crump represents nearly 200 people who are suing.
Live Nation, the organizers, the promoters, the performers did not have what I believe was crowd control protocol. They did not have safety protocol. They did not have medical assistance protocol.
Hundreds of people were hurt at the event. Members of the Wisconsin National Guard are on standby just in case violent protests erupt in connection with the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial. Closing arguments are set for Monday. The judge is expected to decide today whether the jury will be allowed to consider lesser charges. America's listening to Fox News.
Jason in the House, the Jason Chaffetz podcast. There is always someone doing something stupid somewhere. Dive deeper than the headlines and the party lines as I take on American life, politics, and entertainment. Join me, Jason Chaffetz, every Wednesday as I shed light on the news and make some predictions along the way. You never know who will drop in. Subscribe now on foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
You may remember the memo from the National School Board Association comparing some parents to domestic terrorists. Now, new emails appear to show there was collaboration with the White House.
White House official confirmed to Fox News that they did indeed contact the Department of Justice to discuss parent-school board interactions, but they say they only talked policy, not curriculum, and then stated that the DOJ took enforcement action on their own. The action that the Biden administration is distancing itself from is that notorious memo released by Attorney General Merrick Garland announcing FBI involvement in school board disputes. The National School Board Association released some documents. We obtained them, and it shows that the group met with the White House as early as September 14th, discussing, quote, concern over the current climate for school board members, and that they have been actively engaged with the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff in Washington. Nearly a dozen states have cut ties with the National School Board Association. A man who traveled to the edge of space last month has been killed in a small plane crash, along with another man in New Jersey. Glenn DeVries was 49.
State police say the single-engine plane was found in a wooded area near Hampton Township. DeVries traveled with Shatner and others on board the Blue Origin's New Shepard aircraft last month, spending more than 10 minutes in space.
Fox's Chris DeMeo. Leave the lions alone. Police in New York City say a woman who was charged with trespassing at the Bronx Zoo 2 years ago for taunting animals has apparently done it again. Police say the woman was caught on cell phone video this week talking to a lion and tossing money into a moat while wearing a red dress. The video was obtained by WNBC TV. The zoo says it is aggressively seeking prosecution. I'm Pam Puso, Fox News.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know.
Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. This is Winning at Life. live financial news talk radio. We're going to try to add some value to your life, help you improve financial decision making. And I think that's the ultimate. You know, we want to get your money compounding and keep it compounding for a long time. You know what? You're going to need your money for a long time. I'm your host, Gregory Ricks. Welcome to the show. If you want to join the conversation this hour, it's kind of my favorite thing is answering questions, helping with some guidance there, helping improve your chances of success. And that's what we want to do. We want to win. We want to win with our money. We want to win in life. We want to do better. And it's okay to want to do better, to have a little bit more, to not have to worry. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to win and to strive for that and look to improve life. You're human. That's what you want, and it's okay. I was reading an article this morning, and actually, it's another thought from Warren Buffett. I thought this was pretty good. He says there's only one word you have to really become good at. Well, he says that about a lot of things there, but this was an interesting take, and it's something I've shared with others, and it's something my wife, example, has had a weakness of, and that's using a 3-letter word, saying yes to requests. And so you know where I'm going with this. It's the no word, that you actually can say no. If somebody's trying to sell you something, you don't want it, it's okay to say no. If somebody's calling you on the phone, you know, one of those spam calls or whatever, it's okay to say no. Take me off your list. And if you hate that word, let's put another one in to create a pause. You know, I'm going to have to sleep on it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. See, we're talking about no, but there's also, if you kind of hate that awkwardness, well, just kind of do it as a deferral. You know, I really need to think about this. Yeah, no would be real easy, but you can't do that. You know, I hate doing that. Okay, well, let me think about it. Let me get back to you tomorrow. Let me get back to you next week. You know, I have a IT company following up with me, and actually I okay for them calling me back in the future, because it's kind of like I keep them hanging out there in case I become unhappy with the IT firm I'm using. And I just said, hey, I'm not interested in doing anything at this time. And I've told them that several times. They asked, well, can I follow back up with you? I said, yeah, that'll be fine to touch bases with me in a few months just to see where I'm at. I've not made any commitment to do anything, to sit down and talk again or anything. Yeah, you can follow up with me. Now, if they ask me, you know, because one of the things I think of is getting to the truth. If he was to pinpoint me, and if I was asked this way, he did a follow-up question, yeah, I can follow up with you, but do you think there's any chance, Gregory, you might change one day? I might could, but I probably won't unless something goes wrong. So that's kind of leading to truth, which would cause them to say, you know what, I'm not calling him anymore. So sometimes you could even tell them, you know, it's just, you know, I'm going to think about it, but I'm probably not going to go forward, if that helps you out. So you could even share a little bit more from that situation. So sometimes we're talked into buying, spending money, or donating money. And our daughter, something happened to her recently. She's buying gas, and somebody walks up to her asking for something. They were probably asking for money or something, or maybe trying to sell something. I don't know. But she shared the conversation with me. She says it's very awkward. She hates that. And I said, just tell them to stop. Just stop. I'm not interested in anything at all. And just ask them and if they've gotten too close into your space, ask them to step back. I think that's a safety thing. And personally, I tell you what, I hate it. I see somebody approaching me, I'm going to ask them. I ask them to stop. I'd say, I appreciate you not entering my space. I'm not interested. And you know what? That works like 99% of the time, because I'm serious when I say it. My tone is serious, and generally people won't tell them to stop or step away. I think most people are kind of passive on that. So I think no is a good help. And I think no can help save you some money, and no can help you avoid losing money. And it also, no helps you avoid doing things you don't want to do. But if you think about it later and say, I think I will go back and buy that, or I think I will call them back. Well, then do that later. But it created that pause so you can be comfortable in going forward. We had Medicare premiums. They're going up. We had also back in October, Social Security announced that there's a 5.9% increase coming to your Social Security income coming. They also projected that Medicare premium, standard premium, was going to go up 6.7%. They missed it. It was a swing and a miss. The standard premium for Part B will $170.10 next year. They had estimated that it was going to be $158.50. That standard premium will jump by 14.5% in 2022. That deductible for Part B will be $230, up $30. That's a 14.8% increase. And your deductible for Part A hospital coverage per benefit period, which generally starts when you're admitted to the hospital, will be $1,556 in 2022. That's up $72 from last year's amount of $1,484. So Social Security benefits are going up, but so is that Medicare coverage, the premium, and deductibles.
All right, if you got a financial situation, not quite sure what to do, call Gregory, 504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
We help you with your money. We're money managers, income planners, investments, Medicare, estate planning, and then creating tax efficiency.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
What's cooking, Gumbo Nation? This is Dwayne Stein. For 7 years, listeners have allowed me to be their voice to providing education and options weekly and become a trusted resource for their home financing. I want to do that for you. The hardest part of my job is trying to right other lenders wrong. So don't get schmuckatelli. Visit snapsendandsave.com. You deserve better, and let us get it right for you the first time. Visit snapsendandsave.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Half of estate planning is having a plan put together for your loved ones when you pass away. The other half of estate planning is dealing with someone else's plan when they pass away. Sometimes they have a great plan, but sometimes you need a little help. Don't leave your loved ones in a bind. Call me, and we'll make sure you have a plan. Hi, I'm Wes Blanchard, an estate planning attorney in Metairie. What's your plan? Find me at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
What we found through history, looking at the past 90 years, most fund managers don't outperform or perform as well as the indexes. Using indexing, historicals teach us skew a higher return. And yes, there's bad stocks in the S&P 500 as it looks right now, and yet the index is up. I like to use indexed ETFs because those are much lower expense ratios. We try our best in managing our portfolios to avoid trading costs, and we know I've been doing this for 30 years. I've studied trading strategies. You're not going to outsmart the indexes. You may get lucky, you may get unlucky.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hey, y'all. If you have a financial situation and really not sure what to do, give me a call, 504-2600-995. For newbies listening to the show, who is Gregory? Well, I'm a financial advisor, money manager, CEO of Gregory Ricks and Associates, the Total Wealth Authority. That's my day job. My side gig is radio show host. We do a weeknight show as well as this on Saturday, and we're in hour 3 of the live show. You can find out more about me and it. Go to GregoryRicks.com in the media tab, more about the show and so forth, and the Winning at Life app. There's a number of strategies that we have trademarked that we help people with. The Invest 50-50 philosophy, and it's really built on 4 asset classes that keep us in rotation with increasing the probability of money always continuing forward for you. Because ultimately, in success investing is a long-term win goal. What and who can help you reach that financial destination? And that's what you're making the decision on, is not what, is he a really great stock picker? Does he know where the best ETF is? Everybody can kind of help you with ETFs, mutual funds, annuities, stocks, and so forth. Should be situations where you want to make sure they don't help you with some things. That's like you sitting down in a first meeting and they're talking to you about, 30% bonus on an annuity. They know that's appropriate. And that 30% bonus really isn't a cash bonus. It's only on the income rider. They might just forget some of the detail. But why are you having that discussion on the first visit? Or they get into product talk and like, oh, we got these non-tradable REITs that pay this yield. And you're like, wow, that kind of return? Well, they did mention non-tradable. See, I kind of have 3 core rules I always speak about when I give talks publicly, and there's kind of 3 core rules. First, avoid losing money. It's a mindset. I hate losing money. I like to keep my money. Is that perfection all the time? Absolutely not. But you've got a mindset is like, yeah, I really don't want to get parted from it. And it's also, I don't want to be put out of the game. I want to keep playing, meaning I'm speaking of investment, savings, growing your wealth. You don't want the compounding to stop. Don't invest in a way that you could lose everything. meaning get put out the game. Second, have your money making money when it should. I don't think all four asset classes, and we kind of build that with the tactical, I kind of define as my fourth one, is that all money shouldn't be working all the time. Some portions should be shifting considering the environment and be built for that. But some money should never exit as well from that standpoint. And here's the third one. The return of your money is more important than the return on your money. So then what we're getting into is, what are my risks? What are my exits? That's why you're wanting that third question there. And if you're looking for some help on my day job, the office number is 504-832-9200. Offices in Gulfport, Mississippi, Metairie, Louisiana, Mandeville, Louisiana, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the website's gregoryricks.com. That number again is 504-832-9200.
Kevin in Springfield, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, Kevin?
How you doing today?
Hey, Kevin. Good. You?
Hey, I'm doing good, sir. My kind of question for you is, I'm gonna retire in a couple of years, and I'll have about the difference. The retirement coming from my company, I can take a lump sum of about $700,000, or I can take a monthly annuity kind of deal of about $3,500 a month. How do you decide which way to go with that? Because I can't figure out which way is the best way to go with that.
Well, first off, I kind of look at what is the percentage of that. When the lump sum tells you the value, so that's $700K in that case. So the other thing I'm going to look at is and you're at $3,500 a month, so that's $42,000 a year. So then you're kind of looking at the $700K. One of the questions I ask is that annual payment more or less than 5% of distribution on the assets. So 5% distribution of $700K is easy. That's $35,000. So you're more than that at $42,000. So if it's under 5%, it would be more a serious consideration of taking the lump sum. But you're getting neighborhood of 6% from that number?
Yeah, and that's
actually it is
for my wife
6%.
also.
Yeah. Now, if you died, would that check continue to your wife, the 42?
Yes, the same amount.
The same amount. Okay,
That's
an
with the
important
wife thing.
Yeah, that's an important question, and that's the way I look at it. If you're a single guy, then that's probably a different number. But when you look at retirement, you have to look at spousal continuation. I don't care any other numbers. I like that 100% payout. So we're at 6%. That's pretty solid return out there for that. So as far as
that's what I'm thinking too.
And just let's compare it to market. The S&P 500's averaged a little over 8% the past 21 years, but it doesn't make 8% every year. For it to actually to reach the equivalent, you've got to be at about 6.25% going forward with a gain every year to reach the equivalent of that 8. Because that 8's high because it has to make up losses like in 2008 and like in 2018. So you get that. So 6% is a strong return. So then we shift to, what is your confidence in that company to be around another 30 years or so?
Yeah, very, very high. It's a very good oil refining company. So I think it's in good shape in that regard.
Yeah, it don't look like we're going to run out of oil and they're going to go broke.
No, I don't think
so.
I don't care how they want to do it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, so that's kind of the two parts to think about. And this isn't what, 700,000. Let's get that 700,000 so I could go manage it. No, I like the idea of that. Here's one thing. Even if we did consider it, the other part is you can't mess that money up. And first, you can't go get 42,000 off of that. You're going to be getting, probably a 4% income stream on it. So you're going to give up 2% in income out there. And from your standpoint is, I don't need somebody to mess up my 700,000. You might be better off taking the pension. Me as an advisor, in getting to know you, I have to if this was a situation where that lump sum compared to the payments was say like 4.5, could we take the lump sum, and is he going to be a good steward of the money going forward? Because we don't need this. This needs to last you a long time. So this is how I think about it. And I think your 6% off of that's pretty solid, and you like the company. So that kind of answers your question.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay.
I got another question for you. Maybe you could answer for me. So I'm going to retire. I own, let's say, a $250,000 home in Texas. I own the same $250,000 home here in Springfield, Louisiana. And from a tax standpoint, I was really trying to catch the last guy also. I don't know whether I should become a resident of Texas or stay a resident of Louisiana. Let's say if I'm bringing home, when I do Social Security, it'll probably be $90,000 to $100,000 a year between the two.
Well, from an income standpoint, we know Texas is going to be more favorable. I think Mississippi's a little more favorable than Louisiana. Probably something where you'd probably sit down with a CPA. Now, what we do in our firm is if you're working with us, we look at your 1040 and run an analysis every year. And we could look at that in income scenarios, also in where you live scenarios to kind of forward opportunities out there. Is there some efficiencies? Do you plan to keep both houses going forward?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then they get in the...
Kind of split the time between two places.
Yeah. And wherever you're supposed to be living and paying taxes, I think you're probably supposed to have more time there. So keep that in mind in how you do stuff. But I would get a little bit of CPA advice on that, because what you don't want is somebody coming after you later. We want that difference in taxes. You owe us too. Some of these states are kind of greedy. I hear New York really chases down people that move away as well. So,
okay.
But you have options. So congrats on that. Thanks for listening to the show, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Heck yeah. If you want to be next, 504-260-0995. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Hey, James Parker here from Winning at Life. Something that's come up on the show over the last 10 years is that if you're not at your old job, maybe your 401k shouldn't be either. But do you really know why we say that? It's a funny thing. We put a few $100 in our 401k every month. It ends up to be thousands of dollars every year, hundreds of thousands of dollars over our career, and you don't really know that much about it. How do you invest it? How do you diversify? What do you buy? What do you avoid? You've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do? Ask Gregory. Ask Gregory is our new podcast with these financial topics broken down into specific little chunks. So if you have a financial situation or you just want to learn more about money, ask Gregory. Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
And I want to thank you for all of your help.
That's exactly what I needed to know.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
2 questions. Do you have a pulse? Do you own anything? If you said yes to both, you probably need a will. You may even need a trust. We all know a lawyer. Do you know someone who specializes in estate planning? Do you really trust the husband of your sister's friend from college? Or would you feel better putting your family in the hands of the estate planning attorney of the Total Wealth Authority? I'm Wes Blanchard. What's your plan? Offices in Metairie and at wjblanchardlaw.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live 6 days a week. And if we're not on at the moment, you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
Most people think of Crime Stoppers as only a tip reporting line, but we're so much more. Crime Stoppers GNO has worked in our area schools, offering prevention presentations on trending topics from drugs, bullying, online safety, suicide prevention, and much more. And we have a high school teen leadership program which provides students with a first-hand look at the criminal justice profession as a future career, while learning to be an advocate for their fellow students. So to learn more, visit safeschoolsla.com or call 504-837-8477.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. A lawsuit on behalf of the nearly 800 individuals who were injured when the crowd rushed the stage at that Astroworld concert in Houston last weekend has been filed. The attorney filing the suit says it could have been avoided.
Live Nation, the organizers, the promoters, the performers did not have what I believe was crowd control protocol. They did not have safety protocol. They did not have medical assistance protocol.
Ben Crump on Fox, 9 people were killed. A New England toy maker says a holiday backlog in orders is typical, but the current supply chain slowdown is making things worse than ever.
We have been in Christmas mode since August already. And right now, orders are taking up to 4 weeks to ship.
Michael Rainville's owner and president of the Maple Landmark Company in Middlebury, Vermont. America is listening to Fox News.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Hey, y'all. Winning at Life, live financial news talk radio. I'm your host. If you have a question, a situation, need some help with that 401k, that lump sum, that Social Security. We had a great call earlier regarding turning on the wife's before and then switching to the spousal and all. And man, that stuff, we can get into the weeds real quick, but I love Social Security questions as well as those 401k. If you're leaving a job, we had somebody call a few weeks ago and came up, says, yeah, they're making us get these shots and I'm probably going to be working elsewhere. So what do I do with the 401k? Well, you can move it to the new job if they have one. Even if you can't become a part of it, generally you can move that money and open it up. You just can't do contributions to it until the firm allows that to happen. You could leave it at the old job. You could roll it over to an IRA, and that gives you a whole host of choices there. Go to GregoryRicks.com/401k. GregoryRicks.com/401k, and you can have a little bit of help on that. Want to bring some news to you. We've been doing this show for over 11 years, and a little bit of change is coming, and James Parker has worked with me for all of that time. You took a break for about a month or two back in the day. I don't remember.
That was 3 weeks.
It was 3 weeks, and he missed me so much he came back to the show. But he's making a change here, and next Saturday will be his last day on the show.
Yep.
It's something that we've done this for going on 12 years. We won't quite make it as a team that far. You'll be missed. But go ahead.
Well, I'm just originally from the middle of nowhere, East Texas. It's right outside of Bug Tussle. And I've been in...
Similar to like East Abuchi?
Yeah, it's
Mississippi?
I mean, it's not that cosmopolitan, but similar. But when I moved to the New Orleans area 15 years ago, I was a happy little bachelor, and now I'm married with 4 children. And we've always kind of had 2 magnets here. My family, my wife's family's from here. My family's from East Texas. And we've spent about half of my kids' childhood here. And it's kind of nice that we found an opportunity where we can go back and they can be raised around their other family. You know, and it's different. You know, the big city life here in New Orleans, the hustle and bustle, you know, the crime, the potholes, you know, we're trading that out to go somewhere to where you don't necessarily
cow pastures?
Yes, cow pastures. You don't necessarily have to wear shoes every day. You know, so it'll be good for them to get the other side of the cultural divide, because me and my wife are 2 peas in a pod, but we came from very different backgrounds. So that's where we're going to be headed, and just happy that we can go and be with the other side of the family for a while.
Well, I know you've been talking about that for a while, and knew it one day you were hoping to make that shift. So we wish you the best on that, but we're going to keep you around for another week. We won't let him leave quite yet. Do that and get some more James Parker into the mix. So we're on weeknights as well as Saturdays. So James will be here with us next Saturday.
Well, sure.
And more time. If y'all want to give him a hard time or something, you can call.
Yeah, feel free to give me hard times. I love hard times. I also love the fact that just sitting next to you for 11 years, when I'm at family gatherings or, you know, parties at friends' house or in some public setting and people don't really know who I am and financial situations come up, I start running my mouth because I'm just repeating stuff I've overheard on this show for a decade. And they're like, what are you? You a banker? Are you a financial advisor or something? What are you, a tax accountant?
Did you stay at Holiday Inn?
No, I stayed at Holiday Inn Express like 4 years ago, and it just stuck with me so good. No, it's funny because I think that there's regular listeners to this show who have gone through that situation. So new listeners, if you're like, look, I know this isn't the most sexy and exciting show ever, but the information here is good and it's solid, and it's important that you know some of this stuff because you're going to be faced with all of these financial forks in the future. You don't know which one you're going to be faced with, but if you know all of them and you get there with a little bit of a body of information, you're probably going to make better decisions than if you hadn't listened to this show. So I can literally say this show has made me a better person.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm better able to provide for my family and make decisions that will have a better impact, make fewer mistakes. And that can happen.
Well, that is what the show's about, is making better financial decisions.
Right. So for the guy listening, that's you if you stick around. That's you if when you're mowing the lawn and you're going to listen to some podcast, listen to this one, either the Winning at Life or the Ask Gregory podcast. If you're goofing around on other Saturday mornings and you happen to turn on the radio, stop on this show. It can happen to you, and it's just little bits that stack up. And after years and years of listening, you too will have a nice little financial foundation that you can build on.
Stephanie Pomboy, which we follow, I get alerts from her on Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter guy, but I do get notifications and check them out. I don't know that I post anything there. Probably should, but don't. Or I have somebody else doing it for me, probably in that case. Hurdles on the horizon, new crypto regulation, and there's in the infrastructure bill Congress passed recently, there's digital asset provisions. They've got regulations that require any party involved in the exchange of digital assets to register as a broker and report all cash payments exceeding $10K to the IRS. They're wanting to know about the money out there, and what Stephanie basically was saying is, yeah, this shouldn't surprise you, and there's going to be more coming. One facet of the bill requiring attention is the new reporting standards laid out by the IRS. Also, the SEC is continuing to enact new rules and regulations that will make digital assets more centralized markets. Shutting down Coinbase's lending program was a move towards centralized future that exemplified the governance body's increased desire to structure and provide, and here's the important part, providing utmost protection to the investor and ensuring lenders to stay whole. They don't want people taken advantage of, and you'll probably see this at some point considered a security. And if you're having anything to do with it or trying to get people or giving them advice on it, I would say start thinking of it as a security, because I believe that is where it's going. Social Security. Can it be the best annuity you can buy? You know, how about viewing a frame for viewing Social Security claiming decision as an annuity purchase? Think about it this way. By starting at age 70 instead of 62, the retiree misses 8 years of receiving benefit of $22,500. But starting at 70 provides a retiree a net increase in benefits of $17,100 per year for long as he or she lives. The 8 years of lost benefits could be viewed as a premium payment for the $17,100 inflation-adjusted lifetime income starting at age 70. So, you know, once again, think of it outside the box. By not claiming until 70, the 8-year loss of Social Security benefits comes to $180,000. You might think, oh, ouch. But this is a slight overestimation as it assumes a 0% real interest rate. Positive real rates are available from TIPS. This may seem like a big loss, but the $180,000 can be viewed as a premium for a deferred income annuity with inflation-adjusted income of $17,100 annually beginning at 70. The implied payout rate on the annuity provided by delaying Social Security is, get this, 9.5%. This is quite attractive when compared to commercial annuities. A deferred income annuity like this offers a valuable additional provision which cannot be purchased commercially, as no company offers a product with inflation protection for the initial payment amount. Though inflation protection is available as an option after income begins, today's marketplace demands you calibrate real expected income from a deferred income by using an assumed inflation rate, which will probably turn out to be a little off in the end. You know, so some of this decision also has to do with how long you're going to live. And if you're of great health, couple, and this is a larger check, and you've both made it to 65, guess what? One of you probably is going to live to the 90s. And this is a lot of payout for a long period of time. So think about it a little bit differently.
504-260-0995. Call in. You can be after Bill in Pascagoula. He's next. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
I do a whole lot of reading daily, and man, some of the paths it takes me down, and next thing I know, I'm like, I feel like I hit a treasure trove of articles that were just connecting. I'd move from one to the next, and what I do with some of those that I think are really probably worth you taking a look at, I've got a news blog of stuff I read that gets posted. They probably add an article a day, but I read a lot more than that. Some of those I talk about on the show. This is serious stuff right here, but it's GregoryRicks.com, and go to the news blog tab to get a feel of what I look at.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
When I was growing up, my mom relied on old wives' tales to get rid of outdoor bugs. One method included putting 2 pennies in a bag of water and hanging them throughout the backyard. And let's not forget Mom's go-to, the citronella candle, which never worked. It's the 20s. We have science and much more thorough ways to get rid of bugs. Call Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe has this time-release capsule that they spray that slowly releases their mosquito death over a course of a month. Because mosquitoes suck. NewOrleans.mosquitojoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I'm your host, Gregory Ricks, a financial advisor here to answer your questions and help you win with your money.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Simple information from good people.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
So part of our invest 50-50 money management philosophy is to use stock ETFs. We like the indices. We're not going to beat them, so let's join them. Somebody will say, well, what's your track record? Well, what's the track record of the S&P 500? Because that's what we're using, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and some of the sub-indices there. Well, what are you doing on bonds? Well, we like those on the ETFs because I'm not in the buying houses and selling houses business. You know what the pain it is to sell a house? Well, that's kind of like selling a bond. You got to list it and wait for bids. I'd rather do it inside of an ETF that has low expense ratio and let the institutional guys help with that selection.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Find us on the Winning at Life app or winningatlife.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
If you got a kiss on your lips that you're looking for somebody to take. If you got a heart that ain't afraid to love, ain't afraid to break. If you got a body not free and a shotgun see, you will have to say I ain't got nowhere to be. So baby,
Hey there, how you doing? This is Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Happy Saturday. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you have a question for Gregory, you're going to want to call him if it's a financial question because he's a financial advisor. See how that works? 504-260-0995. If you want to see how quick, easy, painless the process is, watch this. Bill in Pascagoula, you're on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. How can we help you, Bill?
Hi. Well, I enjoy listening to your show, and since you're working today, and my usual financial advisor isn't, I thought I'd ask you guys. I came across something this morning on the internet. I don't like getting my information from the internet as far as financial things, but they called them I-bonds.
Yep.
And right now, where they say they're putting them out at 7.12%. I think it's a 5-year period. I've done a little bit of research on it, but I just wanted to know what Mr. Rick's opinion of these were.
They're good. You just can't put a lot of money into it.
Yeah, I believe they're limited. I think I saw 10,000 a piece.
Yep. Yep, but they're
And
inflation
it's,
adjusted.
Tax refund back in
Yeah, they're really paying good right now. So it's good short-term money for small amounts out there. They'd be getting flooded if they would open that up because that is a pretty darn good price.
Well, I find myself, I usually max out my my annual contributions there, even with the catch-up. And the family sold some property, and I've got, again, ideally $20,000 that we got to find someplace to go. And the CD rates just aren't cutting it. And with my understanding, you hold these for a year, and then you pay a small penalty if you can't keep it in there for the entire 5 years.
Yeah, there's some penalty on the exit of that before the period, but there's a limit to how much you can put in. So it gives you another choice out there, especially in this high inflation environment. It does give you another choice. Did you go over to treasurydirect.com to take a look at it?
That is where I looked at it. It looks like they only do these in a paperless account online. So
yep, that's correct as well. So, but that's where you can take advantage of it there as well. Can't send them a check. So it kind of is, in a way, it's a little restricted, isn't it? But it's a
is.
good yield on a little bit of money.
Does the 0% guaranteed interest rate bother you much?
No, isn't that what? Well, if you were in the market, you could have a negative return actually as a possibility out there on that. But you're assuming that. I think we're going to have inflation for a little bit, but we're not going to have it at this level a long time, because how many times in the past 170 years have we had 7% or more inflation? 20 times. So the stock market, if you go to the past 100 years and look at what is the highest inflation years, there's 15 of them. And what did the market do? 7 years the market was up. Go back, let me clarify. Last 100 years, we take the highest 15 inflation years, and they're all separate. They weren't consecutive, but we take those 15 years, we group them together, and the market was up 7 years, down 8 years, and had an average return of 2.5%. So I'd say this 7% on the I bonds is a pretty good deal on that amount of money. The market history doesn't tell us that out there. And obviously those years were over 7% as well from that period of time. Hopefully that helps, Bill. Thanks for calling and asking about it.
Thank you, Bill. Quick correction. You said treasurydirect.com. I believe it's treasurydirect.gov, because there's a website on both.
Thanks for the correction.
Yeah, I just remember you said it different in the past, so I don't know which Gregory's correct.
Yeah, it's .gov.
Okay.
Well, you can be used to saying the .coms.
Oh, I do it all the time.
There.
Do it all the time.
Yeah. But that's how that works on getting treasuries out there. We've talked about that site off and on, and there's even a section out there, how do I buy? And it's called Buying Series I Savings Bonds. And the news is the initial interest rate on Series I savings bonds is 7.12%. You can buy that rate through April of 2022. So this isn't a window. You get to sleep on it. You can go do it next week. And they give you a lot of information on what's an I bond, and what's the interest rate, which we just shared with you because of the caller brought it up, 7.12% on that bond. You buy them in electronic form from their online program over there at Treasury Direct. You can buy them in paper form using federal income tax refund. That's interesting. I was not aware of that. So if you're getting a refund, you can do so. How much can you put in I bonds? Up to $10,000 in electronic I bonds in Treasury Direct, up to $5,000 regarding your federal tax refund. The limits apply separately, meaning you could acquire up to $15,000 in I bonds in a calendar year. So you can't turn around, well, I'm going to go buy one every week. No, they're actually limiting you. So it's kind of like part of your emergency savings can be put in I bonds. So consider that as well. Finish up here with another topic. No callers. We've got a few minutes left. If you want to jump in with a quick call, 504-260-0995. 3 Social Security strategies to bankroll your retirement. This is something where I share when I speak publicly as well at events, is if you haven't saved money, you don't have enough. But one thing I always tell everybody, you have time. If you're 80, you have time to save. There's some things you can do. But more of this comes up when somebody gets to 60 and they start panicking, or 50, 55, like, gosh, I don't have enough. You have time. You're likely to live to 90. Unless you've got some health problems, you can shorten it. Two numbers you have to have. A retirement date, which gives you your age at that date, and then how long do you think you're going to live? Because that's what you're going to need income for that period. So one of the first strategies is to delay your filing as long as possible, and you can defer up to age 70. I talked about that, as that strategy could be the best annuity money could buy when you think of it in that terms, as a premium for a higher deferred income. And you live past 80, you are getting ahead. You absolutely are. The other, I think, is really important, is coordinate with your spouse for a boosted benefit. And it may help you for the spouse situation, could be to turn theirs on earlier and you defer yours, because one of you is going to leave a larger check behind, and it is going to pay longer than the other check. And last, and I was having a discussion earlier this morning about this, and that's to make sure you get in 35 years of earnings, because Social Security is based upon your best 35 years. So if you're working beyond 35 years, you're replacing earlier years. If you're retiring with less than 35 years, say it's 30 years, they're plugging in zeros for 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and they're averaging it there. So if you've worked 35 years, you do not have any zeros in, and you're creating a larger benefit. So a couple thoughts there for those, and you still have time, but those to try to get more for later. If you need some help, 504, here's my office number, my day job. We can help you, and you don't have to become a client. You can just ask a question. Call the office, 504-832-9200. The website is gregoryricks.com.
And you're home away from the show, gregoryricks.com. You can also find the events tab at the top and see when Gregory's doing some speaking events. You can leave questions there. And remember, download the Winning at Life app. And next time you listen to podcasts, whatever app you're on, go find Winning at Life. And it means a whole lot to us if you give us a follow. I'm James Parker. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is for informational purposes only and does not recommend the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, legal advice, or tax advice. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The information and opinions contained herein are provided by third parties and have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Neither AE Wealth Management nor advisors providing investment advisory services through AE Wealth Management recommend or facilitate the buying or selling of cryptocurrencies. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The firm offers insurance services. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeart radio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.